don't know if I'm ready for this podcast, but ready for this movie, but I'm gonna do it my best because I've not watched this movie with anyone else. I've always watched it by myself, and there's probably many reasons for that. So,
well, after watching it for the first time only just the other day, Marcey, I can definitely see why that is.
and I can't believe it took you so long to watch this movie.
I know. I'm very ashamed about that, but
should be.
But I was I'm definitely looking forward to this commentary. As terrifying as it is, I'm also like excited to talk about because there is a lot to talk about with this film. Like while we do this commentary for it.
Yes. Now, Bede, can you before we start the movie, can you walk through everyone how our audio commentaries work, just in case they've never listened to a podcast before?
Indeed. Like if anyone.
You guys are explaining how to just keep listening to a podcast?
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
In case
you do it.
Yes, for the first time listeners out there who've never heard any of our shows or even our commentaries, first of all, how dare you? But for those out there who have never listened to the actual other previous commentaries, what you need to do is that if you have a copy of the film, because I know the film is currently out on Blu-ray in the US on Criterion, and as well as Blu-ray and 4K by Arrow Video in the UK, and also it would be streaming in other places as well. So if you have a copy of the film, all you need to do is we're going to be starting the film from the very start. So basically, the track time being 000000, and we'll count down from 5. And when I say go, that's when you play the movie, and that way our commentary will be in sync with the film as you're watching it. Although I'm pretty sure, even if you don't have a copy of this film, I think the commentary itself will still be both entertaining and informative, regardless, nonetheless. But
right, so everybody press go when he says 5.
How dare you?
But we'll get started. Now, just for the clarification, we're talking about the David Cronenberg crash, not the Paul Haggis crash.
And we're talking about go on 5.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. So we'll get started, and I'll count us down. But before we do, Marcey and Mike, are you both ready?
I'm ready.
Was born ready, Jack.
All right, let's do this. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. Jeffrey Thomas and Robert Lantos present an Alliance Communications production. I don't know why I'm reading.
No, you read it wrong too. It was Jeremy Thomas. So let's
whatever.
give credit where credit's due. James Franco. The great James Spader.
See, if James Franco wasn't problematic these days, he could probably star in a remake of this movie if he wanted to.
This movie should never be remade.
That is true.
Unless
I don't think
it's with me. I mean, what?
Or with puppets or dolls.
What if they remade this with the crash of 2005's Crash?
Ooh.
With the cast of 2005's Crash.
That would
That'd
be so
fucking
bizarre.
That'd be so good. Put fucking like Ludacris in the James Spader role.
Yes.
Sandy Bullock in the Holly Hunter role.
I am actually down for this idea. I think it's brilliant.
I don't know how it'd survive.
Or you could probably sort of combine the two movies together as like a fan edit and just combine them.
Right,
both
it's like
together.
racist car fucking.
Yes, exactly.
It's like lowriders versus SUVs or something.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
And you do a little Southland Tales where the Jeeps can fuck each other too. Like the cars are sentient beings.
Exactly.
The humans fuck the humans, but they also fuck the cars, and the cars fuck the cars, and then it ends with like this big junkyard ballet of just machines and men fucking, as Cronenberg and J.D. Ballard, no doubt, saw in both their texts, adaptation of the text and the text itself.
Well, that's how it should have been, and
See, it says fucking Jeremy Thomas.
Jeremy Thomas.
And don't diss Jeremy Thomas, Marcey, because he's like a world-renowned producer. He's produced every...
I read it wrong. Leave me alone. I'm scared.
he produced The Last Emperor, Marcey, and Rabbit Proof Fence.
Hey, Rabbit Proof Fence is a masterpiece of cinema.
Indeed.
Well, I
And he
mean,
also-
the guy who wrote wait, what did you say? What movies did he produce?
Oh, he
Empire of the
produced.
Sun, you said, right?
He produced The Last Emperor and Rabbit Proof.
Oh, The
Fence.
Last Emperor. Well, no, J.G. Ballard, the guy who wrote Crash, he wrote Empire of the Sun, the Spielberg, the book that the Spielberg.
Yes,
film's
and
based
I
on.
still stand by that is Spielberg's best movie.
It's fucking amazing. It's also like Christian Bale's best movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to be.
Peaked when he was 8.
I'm going to be very shameful right about now.
You've
As
got a
part of
boner,
you-
don't you?
No, at least not yet.
Now you do.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is Deborah Unger, and she is gorgeous.
Here's the first
But she is
joke
a great
that
actress.
she's wearing a white bra. White is, of course, purity, and here she is doing something so impure, something the Puritans would have never done, but only because they didn't have cars.
Exactly.
Or whatever she's doing.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, this film was the film that actually broke her out. Like, she had a couple of movies before this, but this was the one that made her big. And the most interesting thing is when I looked up her Wikipedia page the other day, is like, she actually studied acting in Australia at NIDA, the same school where Mel Gibson, Jeffrey Rush, Jim Davis, and so many others had taught at. And she was like the first Canadian to get into the school. And she even did one. She actually did Bangkok Hilton with Nicole Kidman. That was
Well,
her
we're about
first
to
acting.
see some Bangkok here.
Yeah.
Right on cue.
She ain't wearing any panties.
Well, that's the
She
thing,
not.
though. That's the thing, though. Like, is this all Deborah Karanga, or is this kind of like a body double? Because that's the thing I always think whenever I watch a film and there's sex
Well, if you
scenes
ever
in
meet
it.
her, be like, was that dude licking your asshole at the beginning of the movie, or was he licking someone else's asshole at the beginning of the movie? Or just go straight to the source. Go to his tongue and be like, whose asshole did you have your tongue in?
These are questions I'm definitely going to.
I think you would so totally like be too embarrassed to ask that question.
I would be embarrassed. I was too embarrassed to ask John Travolta about the Fanatic when I met him.
For shame.
Although to be fair, at the time I hadn't seen the Fanatic yet, so I couldn't ask him yet.
The lead character's name is James Ballard. The author of the book is J.G. Ballard. I mean, what are we doing here? Is this how he sees himself? Is this how he's...
Yes, he
Is
does.
this autobiographical? Because, I mean, he's also written, Empire of the Sun, which, he couldn't have had too much experience with. But he also wrote, well, you're a fan of Tom Hiddleston. He wrote the book High Rise that the
That is true. He
the
did write
movie's
that
based
book.
on. Yeah.
So
Well, that's
far,
the thing.
this movie has had 2 different women having 2 different tongues up their assholes in the first 5 minutes.
I almost did a spit take there, Marcey, when you said that.
Well, what was James Spader doing then? He had his tongue up her asshole.
Did that scene inspire Leo DiCaprio's intro in The Wolf of Wall Street? Remember in that scene when he's literally like snorting coke out of a hooker's asshole?
That's the only way I snort cocaine.
Yeah. How much cocaine would get lost, like, in the ass, though? And then, like, if you got cocaine in your asshole, you're still gonna get fucking high. It's going into your bloodstream.
Yep.
I mean,
Exactly.
It's a 2 for 1.
So who is getting more high, Jordan Belfort, Leo, or the hooker who was doing the headstand? I think the hooker doing the headstand was fucking blitzed, and Jordan was only getting, like, pardon the pun, but like farts of her eye.
He needed to put the
Whiffs.
cocaine up his ass.
Right. So the premise of this movie is what? If you're not watching along with us, or even if you are, you don't understand what's going on because we're talking over.
Pretty much from what I gather, at least when
Having
I
your
watched it.
tongue up someone's asshole.
I mean, besides that,
Giving rim jobs, obviously. Because it's a double entendre.
exactly.
Because cars have rims.
Oh. My mind is blown right now, Marcey.
Well, that's not what a rim job is. It's not blowing you, but you'll get there someday. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think Ballard picked car crashes as the fetish because no one actually has this fetish, and it's like his way of being able to deal with like different types of sexualities and you know, kinks that folks are into without offending anyone, but by making it the most offensive thing? Because I don't know. I've thought about this movie often.
Yeah.
For 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
The performances are so cold too. Like,
oh yeah. I was gonna say, like, maybe that's probably what it is. I mean, I know reading up on the book, like Ballard wrote it in the early 70s. So at the time when he wrote that book, I assume, like, you know, oh, I want to like write a book about sex fetishes, because this is around in the 70s, like, you know, the early 70s, when, you know, sexual liberation is at its kind of height.